Can you see me? Can you hear me? You might notice that we're in the hospital, which is not where I was in the last episode. If you were here yesterday, you already know what's up. If you weren't here, allow me to explain, please. My computer is the worst computer, actually. If it was a dog, I would say bad dog. I would smack it. It was unimaginably overpriced and expensive. Oh, and we might be dropping frames already. Oh, it must have heard me talking about it. Fear not. All right, let me get my spiel in quick. We're going to monitor the situation closely. The important things to know is my stream started going kaput on me so fast yesterday that we barely did anything. I promise you guys didn't miss anything. I started in the hotel lobby. I told a fantastic and riveting story about how I stalked a man outside of my gym. Then I came to the hospital, and my story about stalking that man in the gym, that is what you missed. It was a riveting tale, and it took up a lot of time. So it was probably about 15 minutes of that story, and then maybe like 4 minutes of gameplay. I did check in on my friend Daily Vigil to see how his cranium is doing, and we basically just recapped shit we already know. AKA, this video game's favorite mechanic, rehashing the past. And that's where we are now, actually. He's still doing it, in fact. He's still trying to rehash the past, regale me with the details, and that's where we stand. So, Josh Scott, Tito TJ, Dave Abler, John Brown, and Jacob Welsh, and the rest of you, Kuran says, hello, happy to be here. I do need you guys to be my eyes and my ears on this stream. As we run into difficulties, I absolutely need you guys, to let me know if things in the stream are looking wonky or weird. Because I'm just trying to go with it the best that I can and hope for the best. And then until I can maybe buy a new computer, which really, again, pisses me off because I'm an idiot and I don't know enough about computers, and I think I might have been scammed. All right, I bought an Alienware computer, 10 out of 10. I don't recommend. It's caused me nothing but trouble, literally since day one that I bought it, actually. And it's very expensive, so maybe it's all my bad, or maybe I'm just too stupid to learn how to use it. I don't know. Both are viable options. All right, Daily Vigil, why don't we continue to unpack together? But there was one notable exception. Notable exception to what? I pray ask. Well, to Barclay, it was renowned for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out of the place was searched multiple times, except for this one exception that I'm talking about now. Or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned. I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins in which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed. Is that right? Ah, this is just like Squid Game. Yes. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of a condemned convict, the body was taken in its coffin for immediate burial in Lowgate Cemetery behind the prison. Vogue. The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers. But after that, no member of staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body ever again. Oh my goodness! When executions took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside of the chamber. I would wait in the adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. Right. On that occasion, once I had that confirmation, I went into the mortuary to find a lone coffin as usual. The procedure that I would sign the paperwork having checked the coffin, and then I would nail it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut. No! Get out of town! It's true! I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I had arrived. So, you mean the coffin contained Yes. I can only imagine that Asogi, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive, inside of the coffin. The coffin was then taken out through the main gates and deposited in Lowgate Cemetery. Presumably there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long. So in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free. But in the end, he was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night? I wonder. I'm afraid I really don't know. All I can say with certainty are two things. One, Asogi couldn't possibly have escaped that way without help from somebody in the prison. Right. But you're claiming it wasn't you.
Daddy? Sorry.
Oh!
Daddy?
Maxwell!
Sorry.
Poppy?
Daddy?
Poppy?
Sorry. Daddy? Sorry.
George, you're coming out to LA? I would love to show
Daddy?
you around town. Oh, Daddy. All right, well, that's your flex.
MXWL has just donated $5. George, you're coming out to LA? I would love to show you around town.
Were you guys able to hear that, actually? I really hope you were. If you weren't, let me know. She read your message out loud, and I heard it in my ear. But if my audio is not turned on correctly, it's possible you guys didn't hear that. So, let me know. But regardless, I saw the message. You're asking if I'm coming out. Well, I am coming out to LA. Here's the thing about that, though. I'm going for a friend's birthday, and we are going to amusement parks. There's two in the region outside of LA, but in that area. One of them is called Magic Mountain. I know the name of it. I've committed it to memory. I'm going to that park. The other one, I forget the name of, but there's another one, and I'm not the planner. We've been over this before. I'm not good at planning things. He's planning his own birthday, and I'm sending him the money. So hopefully he's booking everything on my behalf. I sent him like $1,000. So I'm hoping that he bought me my park tickets for both parks, my plane tickets so that I can get to LA and back. And I also sent him money to like cover the hotel we'll be staying at. We will be doing a day in the city too, but because my priority is my friend, unlike when I travel alone, sometimes when I travel alone, I specifically like, guys, I don't know if this is pathetic, but I've like gone on my Twitter account and been like, hey gays, are any of you gays gonna be out at the gay bar? Because I'm in a town by myself and looking to hang out. And then I like hope that I don't get killed or anything. And I try to meet some local boys out for drinks. But I don't think I'll be doing that on this trip. So it's yet to see what'll be happening. But yes, I'm leaving next week, the 19th, I think. And I don't know what my itinerary is going to be, but I am looking forward to it because I do love riding roller coasters. So Maxwell, there you go. I'll be in LA. And thank you for the flex donation. Again, here's your flex. It was not arm day at the gym, but it was chest day at the gym. I worked out my pecs a little bit. All right, sorry. I'm getting back into it, I promise. And that somebody was not me. Right. All right, the convict, Asogi. Let's get into it. I'm back on track. Obviously, you knew the man then. The professor, I mean. Genshin Asogi. Yes, I remember him well, in fact. Would you mind telling us what you know about him? Well, having been condemned to death, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After that trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended only by elite members of the judiciary, they called for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity. The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it? It was a time of delicate diplomacy, when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that this potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. Great line read, Susato-san. Thank you. The man had less than a week in total. As I was the chief warder, I oversaw his short stay in the cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience. What do you mean exactly? He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman and a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd done, so I asked him one day. Those 5 members of the aristocracy whose lives were taken, were you really the one responsible? I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human's life. Yes. Alright, well, why are you saying it like you're a fucking fortune cookie? That's not very direct. Guys, so many problems can be solved if we'd just be a little bit more direct with each other. My god. Everyone wants to be the fucking Riddler in these games. The following day, the closed trial took place, and the verdict was no surprise. Guilty. That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something. Something unusual. Something unusual? What? The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi. Asogi's will, okay. As I said, it was on the night following his trial, after he'd been found guilty. I was doing the rounds of the cells when I looked into Asogi's. I noticed that he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand. Ah, his last will and testament then, presumably. Since that is what we're talking about. As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back. But why did you find that so unusual? Isn't it normal for a man to pen his will when he knows that he's going to die? Yes, that's true. But there were special conditions to Asogi's incarceration, you see. What sort of conditions? Well, even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects with him. With one exception, however. Really? He was allowed his things? What is this? Christoph Gavin? In his fucking luxury apartment in his prison cell? Of course. He had been convicted of killing 5 members of the aristocracy. But at the same time, he was a guest in our country from the Empire of Japan. The powers that be were determined that his final days shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable. And what was the exception that you mentioned? To the personal effects he was allowed? That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing materials. Specifically, no pens or paper. There was one rule and he broke it. So, he was prevented from leaving any written record of what had happened to him. Yes, that was the long and short of it. I have no idea where he had obtained the paper from. Any writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration. As I said, he hid the paper behind his back, and then he pleaded with me. What did you just hide behind your back? Please, turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline. But you know it's against the rules. You're the only person who's seen. If you just agree to keep quiet. All right then. But what's on that paper? A last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now. Did he write to his son? Did he write to Kazuma? Is that why Kazuma was hellbent on getting to Britain? How can a will be a weapon? So I decided to pretend that I'd seen nothing, and I let him keep his will. But then later, it just seemed to vanish without a trace. Well, he had to get it to someone some way, because, yeah. What? Wait, what do you mean? It vanished? It would seem that isn't the end of this story. Of the mysterious will, I mean. The will's disappearance. My god, this man can talk for hours. I was the only person who saw Asogi's will, but somehow it disappeared. It was after Asogi's execution, which was actually an elaborate jailbreak. The warders gathered up Asogi's possessions that were in his cell. They were all to be sent back to his family back home in Japan, you see. To poor Kazuma-sama. And you're saying that it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects? The will, I mean. Glad we keep establishing that. We are once again talking about the will. Did you forget? I want to remind you that we're talking about the will. Sometimes this game reads like it's written by a student in a college class who's trying to meet a word count. Did they have strict word counts that they had to meet here? That's right, though I didn't search through them myself. But Governor Caden was livid. He was screaming, "It can have disappeared completely!" That doesn't quite make sense, though, does it? Yeah, he's not... Why does Governor Kane know about the will? Shouldn't he not, if it was supposed to be a secret? In what way? Well, we'd understood that only Mr. Vigil was aware of the will's existence. Thank you, Susato-san. Me and you, I'm on the same wavelength as the woman. That's how you know that I'm smart. In which case, how did the prison governor know to look for it? Yeah, that's right. How did he? I really don't know how he knew, but it certainly seems as though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. I think I got a skeeter bite on my crotch. My upper thigh, not my crotch. Only he didn't refer to it as a will. What he said was, the Asogi papers. Is it possible we're talking about two different things, then? The Asogi papers? Maybe that's like client records. Convict records. I really can't tell you anything of the subsequent events. Because, well, of what had happened. Your dismissal, and the way you dramatically yeeted yourself out of a window, you mean? I'd forgotten all of this until today. I don't suppose it's relevant to the case, though. Well, regardless, thank you very much for sharing it with us, Mr. Vigil. We're very grateful for your help. I'm afraid there's really little more that I can tell you. My wife Evie will be here shortly, so I do hope I don't appear rude, but... no, not at all. Thank you, again. Defenestration! Holy shit, Fiction of Grandeur. Are you and I on the same TikTok For You page? Because I see where you're going. Defenestration is the process of throwing something out of the window, which I just learned because I saw a TikTok on my For You page of Mrs. Fowl from Jimmy Neutron, who put the word defenestration on her chalkboard for a spelling test in an episode of Jimmy Neutron as a fun little background detail. Nope. Oh. Well, how did you come to... That's how I came across that word. I learned the word through Tumblr. Oh. Well, that's a very funny coincidence because, yes, it was less than 24 hours ago that the word appeared on my TikTok For You page of someone pointing it out in an episode of Jimmy Neutron. Boy, genius. Got a blast! Also, while we're on the subject... I didn't really want to talk about it because I'm a little bit traumatized by it at the moment, and I don't know that I've fully processed it. But if any of you have been like busy all day and you haven't been on the internet, controversial political commentator Charlie Kirk has passed away. He was shot at a rally that a rally. Charlie Kirk is known for doing these things where he goes to like college campuses and he's like, I'm gonna say a controversial opinion. All you liberals, fight me. And someone who is still at large, they haven't caught the guy. At least by the time that I started streaming this, they don't know who did it, but somebody brought a gun and they shot him in the neck. And I saw the video because like this, here's the thing about Twitter and its policing policies. Things just get thrown into your face on the internet, and it can be a little bit too much. The Charlie Kirk video was excessively too much. It was horrifying. I wouldn't wish it on anybody or seeing it, and I think I just kind of went into autopilot because I don't do well seeing death, like real in-person tragedies and horrific violence like that. I think I'm so desensitized because I do a lot of like video games and I watch a lot of scary movies and stuff, and I'm so used to seeing these things portrayed, but portrayed in ways that are like fake and not real, that it was just incredibly jarring and unsettling. And I fear that there's going to be really, really severe political fallout that comes out of this, but you know, it's also the United States of America, and I mean, he's not the first nor the last who's going to go by gun violence, because, fun fact, I say it on multiple streams as a person who's super duper anti-gun, the United States of America is uniquely the only country on the planet, the only country on the planet where the #1 cause of death for persons under the age of 18 is firearms. Typically, in most places in the world, it's car accidents. But car accident fatalities keep going down because cars keep getting made safer and safer. And in the United States, I believe it was the year 2020, or maybe it was 2021, actually, because the year was shut down in 2020. It might have been 2021 where firearms took over car accidents as the leading cause of death for persons under the age of 18. A very, very uniquely American problem. And unfortunately, I think it snowballed past the point of reparation because there's like 2 to 3 guns per citizen. The firearms outnumber us, the humans, at this point in the United States. And so I don't laugh because it's funny. I laugh because I'm super uncomfortable and I think that there's nothing that can be done to fix it. And it's a little bit scary for everyone in this country to just go outside in public. Anyways, that was heavy. Let's circle back to my client and see if I can help them get a little bit better. Well, impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. I imagine that once I'm fully recovered, I'll probably be arrested. You did commit crimes. This is true. But you didn't commit murder, so my job is done. I'm still getting paid, right? I'm so sorry. Don't be, please. This was all my own doing. Also, I'm not your client. Barrack Von Six is your client. Fuck! I forgot my own client, Susato-san. Mr. Naruhodo, this is why you should really get one of these pocket diaries like I have. Yeah, probably. I always knew that this day would come. Well, I wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil. Ah! Wait! I can't leave! This is my hospital room! Before you go, there's just one thing. Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. Okay, for sure, let it out. What is it? The Asogi papers! Yeah? I'd be very grateful if you'd make no mention of the things I told you about them. Is there a good reason for me to not? It's my understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. If it became known that I'd remembered, well, it could be rather troublesome for me. I understand. Some sort of will that Genshin Asogi penned just before his death. Hold up. I'm feeling parched. I need a drink. Hang on 1 second. Fortunately, I keep a nice glass of dihydrogen oxide handy, so I will swallow for you. Do you think I can swallow in like an ASMR way, or do you think it'll be really gross? Do you think it would even pick up on the microphone? did. How do people swallow noisily? Or did it pick gulp? I don't know. But regardless, it's helping me. Alright, everyone stay calm. I will solve the mystery. But you can't do it if your throat scratches. Alright. The man himself claims that this will was his last weapon. I wonder. Perhaps it had something to do with his plan to escape. No shit, Sherlock. Hairlock. You have to point the microphone at your throat. Oh, that might make a lot more sense. Here, is this better? Fuck! I was looking at the camera finder, and I fucking missed my mouth like a fucking inbred trying to drink water. Oh, it's all over my crotch. All right, let me try one more time. Let me, first of all, yeah, throw water on all of my electrical equipment. That's what we do. Okay. Did you hear anything? I'll practice. I'm gonna figure out how to be an AR boy. All right, well, that was a hot mess. All right, sorry that you had to bear witness to any of that. I'm gonna move on. If there's anyone who might know more about a document that Cosmo's father left behind, it would be Mr. Vigil's governor. Oh. Okay. Then we know precisely where we must go. Back to Barclay Prison. Okay. Goodbye, Vigil. Try not to off yourself in the time that I'm gone. Barclay Prison. The governor's office. It is November 2nd at Barclay Prison at the governor's office. Oh, Daddy, hi. Oh, God, your scalp. Something happened back there. Oh! Back again, are ya? Yes? Hello! It's good to see you. I've heard about your investigations. I've read the report just now. You found him, eh? Vigil? We did. Luckily. Well, anywho. The laddie doesn't work here anymore, so your case is not to do with Barclay. I wouldn't like you to get the wrong idea about that. Of course, yes, I understand the words that you are saying to me, Mr. Vigil, Mr. Kane, but Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so... Yes, we've seen his dismissal notice, haven't we? He was given the chop. Hey, Kimmer, you can very well, so how about a wee handcuff biscuit? Ooh, they really are like handcuffs, and as hard as irons, too. So, what's brought you doing here today? Well, I was gonna tell you, but before I do, now that I've drank my water, I also have to turn up the air again, because I'm getting a little bit hot and bothered. Pardon for ein Moment bitte gern. Alright, now that I can get a little bit more comfortable, I'm ready to do some detectiving. Is that so? It is, actually. We believe there might have been a document that disappeared from Genshin Asogi's cell. I think it's been called the Asogi Papers or something. Oh, he doesn't like that. Did I not say? Gregson's death is not to do with things that might have happened at Barclay. Leave the past in the past, laddie. Let's not fool around with relevant details. His expression's changed completely. He's fixated on his hair. That must be his tell. I've played as Apollo Justice before. You see, I can pick up on these very subtle things that the characters do. We're clearly onto something here. Great, let's pry. 10-year-old legacy. That murderous boxed execution and the whole miserable escape. They were Barclay's darkest hour, eh? A shocking embarrassment. Because the convict had a collaborator on the prison staff. That's the embarrassing part, you mean? Aye, for shame. The coroner who confirmed the death of the man after his execution, Courtney Scythe. And my chief warder at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair. But Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it. The rascal would nae say otherwise, eh? More handcuffs.
Oh! How can I say no? You can never have too much iron in your diet. When Mr. Vigil was handed his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened, he was so despairing that he jumped out of your office window, didn't he?
I didn't like to say, but that's just Vigil trying to get out of it. Do you think he would have me jumped from the shock of his crimes of being exposed, eh? I do. You would nae say otherwise, though, wouldn't? Huh? Fuck, I'm lost. Of course! I can nae shun all the responsibility myself. I should nae let him deceive me. Actually, there's barely anybody that kens that went on at the time now. He's lying. He's doing the hair thing again. With Gregson having been murdered and Dr. Scythe forbidden from having any visitors. No visitors? Someone obviously doesn't want her giving anything away.
Well, we're not going home empty-handed.
And I would nae dream of sending you packing without now Kimmer. Now here, take a handcuff or two.
Oh! Well, it would be rude to say no to handcuff biscuits. I wouldn't want to become anemic.
You're out of luck. In my experience, almost every girl I've ever met in my life claims that she was anemic in high school. Why do girls never have enough iron? I suppose, if there's anybody who might still ken about what happened back then, it'd be that lass from the forensic division, Mariah Gorey. Who? Mariah Carey? Mariah Gorey. Scythe's daughter. She didn't have no more, just the one. I do recall seeing a daughter, and I was wondering when she was going to become relevant, actually, because she appeared, and I was like, they made a character model for her, but then she played no role yet. Isn't she a child? Is she a child? Is she an adult? But the wee brains followed in her mam's footsteps. You didn't have to see her without a scalpel in her hand. Oh. Yeah, this girl. That's why I thought she was a child, because she says fucking mama, which adults don't do. What is this? Huh? Where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor mama? Dr. Scythe's daughter, Mariah Gorey. We could do with a talking to her, I think. How do I make that happen? So she's Dr. Scythe's daughter, but her surname is Gorey? Aye. There's some, family history, I'm sure, but I dinna ken the ins and outs of it. Sounds like Dr. Scythe was a whore! She grew up watching her mam work with the bodies of folk who died in strange circumstances, and decided to do the same with her own life. I can nae understand it myself.
Perhaps she was driven by a deep respect for her mother.
Maybe. Perhaps. Anywho, she was in charge of Gregson's autopsy, I believe. Right. And the coroner responsible for this incomplete report didn't give us the time of death. Someone told me once that the wee lassie had always loved her mam's stories about cutting up bodies. God, a real Addams family. There's even a rumor that she used to listen to the funeral march as a lullaby.
Well, then perhaps her mother might have told her about the autopsy from the case 10 years ago.
Just some regular old mother-daughter bonding, okay. I'd say there's a fighting chance at least. After all, that was a life-changing case for all of us. We really need to speak to Miss Gorey herself about this, I think. Thank you very much, sir, boss, daddy, sir, man.
I'm no happy about any part of this. It took years for Londoners to finally forget the whole professor business. Can you no give up on this, laddie? Stop asking pointless questions.
I'm the one who decides if the questions are pointless, and I'm sorry. I don't love dredging up these painful memories for everyone, but I'm going to keep doing it.
Can you no just stay away, no? Leave me alone and do not come back here, eh?
I make no promises. Now that... I'm so sorry for bringing up painful memories. Now, if you don't mind, I would really love to press you on the forbidden topic of the Asogi papers.
How do you come to know about that, laddie?
Well, you see, what had happened was, I protect my sources.
There's no many folk here in the prison who've heard of those papers.
Well, I mean, I can't tell him that Mr. Vigil told me.
I'm afraid our sources must remain confidential, sir.
There you go, Susato-san. We've been led to believe the papers are actually a last will and testament. Is that correct? The professor's, or rather, Genshin Asogi's.
Aye, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy.
My name's Ryu. Nosuke, actually. Is that the end of the silent treatment? But then, after the convict's execution, it mysteriously vanished from his cell, didn't it?
Havers no. You're off at half cock there.
What?
I think you didn't quite get your facts straight. It was there in the cell, exactly where it should have been.
Oh. Well, that's not what I had heard.
Let me just have a wee hook around here. I'm sure I can find it.
Oh, sick. You're gonna show them to us?
Aye, here you are. See?
The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi, written with a calligraphy brush.
Of course, I can't read a word of those Japanese squiggles, but I mind it says he leaves all his worldly possessions to his son back in his homeland.
Yes, that's correct. That's the gist of it, at least.
So these are the Asogi papers.
Aye, of course they are. Papers written by Asogi. No doubt about it. There's no mystery here, laddie. That's your lot.
Well, when you say it like that, I can't help but become a little bit of a skeptic.
After all those stramish, all those
Huh? What?
We sent the man's possessions back to his clan in Japan, and that was the end of it.
I think we ought to make a record of this, Mr. Naruhodo, just in case.
Asogi papers entered to the court record! The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi that Mr. Vigil claims disappeared after the convict's execution. Apparently, Mr. Asogi described it as the only weapon I have left. So, do we think that this is a fake then? Like maybe, because we have a contradiction. The real Asogi papers went missing and they were replaced with this standard basic will and testament. Can I look at it, by the way?
One thing before you go your way, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yeah, 1 second, please. I want to look at these. Last will and testament of Genshin... Wow. Japanese calligraphy sure looks a lot like fucking English. How handy for me. Last will and testament of Genshin Asogi. I, Genshin Asogi, hereby request that upon my death, any and all material possessions and wealth belonging to me in London be delivered to my son, Kazuma Asogi, in the Empire of Japan. It is with deep sadness that I accept my fate in this foreign land, in the knowledge that I will never see my homeland or family again, but I regret nothing about my chosen path. Wow. His calligraphy also is shockingly similar to the fine print of a typewriter. Oh, so, yeah? What's up?
Those papers are not to do with Gregson's death. I'd prefer if you didn't make no mention of them outside this office. Or rather, I would nay just prefer it. Consider it an order from the highest levels of our government.
I understand. Yeah, there's definitely something fishy about these papers. But thank you for giving them to me. All right, can I go talk to Mariah Carey? Is that a new location for me yet? It doesn't look like it is, actually. Gate Waterloo, Prisoners, Governor Office, the prison, Fresno Street Room, hospital bed, prosecutor's office. All right, well, I'll talk to Kazuma first, but then I'll see if I can figure out how to talk to Mariah Gore. November 2nd, prosecutor's office. Hello, it's so good to see you, Kazuma. Oh, you look so good when you're just staring out your window, pontificating about life. I thought it wouldn't be long before you paid me a visit, Ryunosuke. I can't stay away from you for very long. I was right about what I said, wasn't I? I'm sorry? Your music, it speaks to me, actually. I think we were destined to be together. That you have all the makings of a great defense lawyer. Oh my god, stop it! Shucks, do you really think so? Well, I always believed that you'd fulfill your dream of advocating in the British courts. I just never imagined for 1 second that it would be as a prosecutor.
Seeing you stand in front of a foreign courtroom, so gallantly realizing your dream, Kazuma-sama, I'm truly happy for you.
All right, Susato-san, back the fuck off. You're coming on a little bit strong. It's a little bit pathetic. Kazuma, I've never been so happy for you. And I'm truly grateful to you, Judicial Assistant Mikotoba. It's mitochondria. What? Ryunosuke, I always thought it would be fun for you and I to shake up the British legal system together. Yes, let's infect them with our gayness. This isn't quite how I envisioned it, but I suppose it's just another twist of fate. I've learnt a lot of things during my time in London. About how Susato-san's father was himself a visiting student here once, along with Judge Jigoku. And about what happened with your father. Then you'll have no difficulty understanding why I had no choice, why I had to find a way to get to Britain as a visiting student myself. I see. I want to hear it from you, Kazuma. As you wish, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Oh, sorry. I have to start the dialogue here. Okay. It's getting on for a year now, since what happened on the SS Beria. You made me think that you were dead! That's kind of fucked up. We were heading across the ocean from Japan to Great Britain. It's recap time, everybody. Pay attention. That's when a bizarre series of coincidences led to those tragic events. I thought that I'd lost my boyfriend forever. I must have been unconscious for a long time. When I awoke, I was laying on a bed. It was a narrow little room. There was a posse of flowers by the window. It took me a while to realize that I was in the cabin of a ship. I slipped out of the room and headed up onto the deck. Were you already suffering from amnesia at that point? Yes. I didn't know what had happened or where I was. There was just this voice inside of my head. You have to do something. Something no one else can know about. Go to Great Britain. Your task awaits you there. Very specific and vague at the same time, you amnesiac. It was a calling I couldn't quite ignore. It compelled me relentlessly. Out on deck, I saw that I was on a huge steamship, and we were docked in a large port.
It must have been Hong Kong!
Yes, it must have been. Presumably just before they were due to carry your body off of the ship. I had no idea of the situation, but I did have the feeling that this was in some way my last chance. So I concealed myself among the disembarking passengers and I went ashore. Then, I disappeared into the crowded streets of that foreign port city, so I could plan my onward journey to Great Britain. Wow. Tell me about that. Just under a year ago, with all my past memories lost to me, I was left behind in Hong Kong. Everything was foreign to me. The sights, the sounds, the smells. My head reeled. I was truly at a loss. I realized now that I'd escaped as a dead man, with nothing but the clothes on my back. No money, of course. Oh my god, did you have to sleep with people? For money?
Oh, how terrifying!
I'll say. Luckily, I had two feathers in my cap. One being your knowledge of English, I suppose. That's right. And on the back of that, I was able to pick up some work at the local bathhouse. Oh, eventually, after calling on at countless ports, I finally arrived at Dover. That must have been some 3 months ago now. Your formidable tenacity for purpose is showing itself again. What? I'm swooning over you is what I'm trying to say. I mean, the man lost his memory and he had literally nothing to his name. Mike C, hello? But he still managed to make his way to London on the opposite side of the world. God, some days I struggle to get off my couch. Of course, I had no idea why I'd moved heaven and earth to get to here at this point. So, how did you end up becoming Lord Von Zieks' apprentice, of all things? That can only be called an extraordinary stroke of luck, really. You see, I was stopped at the border because I had no papers. They took me straight to Scotland Yard. And by the sheer coincidence, Lord Strongheart was there to attend a meeting. That's when the second feather in my cap came into play. Your good looks?
Would that have been your knowledge of the law?
Oh, right. Yes, exactly. Lord Strongheart was curious about an Easterner with intimate knowledge of British law. He took me back with him to the Supreme Court and assigned me to prosecutor's office. You don't find that a little bit suspicious? And then, 9 days ago, you finally got your memory back, after the trial involving Enoch Drebber. Yes, I did. Wow. Let's talk about your dad. Tell me about your daddy issues. Ever since I first met you at UMA, you talked about your dream. Mark my words, Ryunosuke. I'll be chosen as a visiting student and make my way to Great Britain someday. Did you know the entire time about what had happened to your father here? 16 years ago. Ooh! Hi, Daddy. When my father left on that exciting trip to Great Britain, I was just a boy. We took a photograph together the day before his departure. It's my last memory of him. Aw, you were so cute. What did I miss? You didn't miss much. We're just, like, recapping. I'm getting all the backstory to Kazuma. But what I remember most about my father is his unswerving sense of justice. 6 years after he left, a gentleman called at our family home. He told me that Genshin, my father, had been taken ill in England and passed away. It was Professor Mikotoba, your father, Susato-san.
Oh, my.
Please examine Von Zieks' desk before you leave. Got it, making a note. Ever since then, the professor was very good to me. He even helped to fund my university education at UMA. I'll be forever in his debt. But nevertheless, I just couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd told me.
Oh!
Then one day, a letter arrived at our house from Britain. There was no indication of the sender, so I opened it, assuming it was from an old acquaintance of my father. What I read in that letter changed my entire life. The real Asogi papers! Do we think? I think. Maybe. Can I see them? Do you still have them? What did it say? It said that my father had been a mass murderer, and that the writer cursed the Asogi name. Oh. Okay. Maybe not. Maybe not the real Asogi papers, actually. Maybe just a pissed off internet troll.
Oh no.
As a result of that letter, I found out what had been hidden from me all of those years. The letter from Britain. Presumably, the letter was sent from a relative of one of the victims. If whoever it was had been a member of the judiciary, he could have been present at the closed trial. The letter revealed that my father had been sentenced to death, executed for being a killer. I'm so sorry that you had to find out that way. I imagine the British government did its very best to silence whoever sent that letter, but someone who knew the truth and couldn't bear the resentment was always going to be a problem.
But still, it could have been written by anyone. Oh, why would you believe such a thing?
There was a newspaper cutting included with the letter. It was the first I'd ever heard of the professor and his terrible killing spree.
Well, what did my father have to say about the letter?
I couldn't bring myself to show it to him. What? Why not? Because he deliberately concealed the truth from me by telling me my father was taken by a fatal illness. That couldn't have been easy for him. And he's done it out of consideration for my feelings. So instead, I showed the letter to Judge Jigoku. Oh. The other visiting student. He faltered for the briefest of moments, but then he just laughed the letter off. Oh, well that's not appropriate. But in that moment, I saw it on his face. He was undeniably shocked, shaken momentarily before recovering his poise.
Huh.
A year later, my bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief, and she too passed away. God, your backstory is so tragic. You'd be such a good character in a yaoi. That's when I made up my mind that one day, without fail, I would cross the seas to Britain and seek the truth for myself. The truth about my father, Genshin Asogi. And I wouldn't let anyone stand in my way.
Oh, Kazuma-sama.
Wait, are the murders patterned after Jack? The Ripper? That's what I would assume with absolutely no fucking knowledge. The Reaper's trial. What we learned today in court turned things completely on their head. It was an impressive piece of the lawyering, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Lord Von Zeeks isn't the Reaper, you know. I almost don't want to believe it myself, but it turns out that Inspector Gregson himself, the victim, was the informant to the Reaper, to be specific. It's clear that the Inspector was behind the Reaper's activity all along. Wait, you knew? The real question is, who's been giving orders to the Inspector? Yes, Barrack Von Zeeks is the real Reaper. Wait, what? No. I think you've lost me again. What? And I know that 10 years ago it was him who decided my father must be a mass murderer and sent him to his grave.
No! He was merely saying that justice was done as the law dictates. He's not to blame.
Ultimately, it's people who condemn people. The law is just the tool that they use to do it. Wow, that's profound. And when a man condemns another man, he must take responsibility for his actions. Of course he must. Alright, well, let's not get biblical here. I can condemn men all I want. But I know for certain that my father would never have taken another man's life. Kazuma. On the contrary, my father's life was taken by the Reaper. Oh, are we done? I'm sorry, is that everything? Do I have anything? Am I supposed to show you something? Do you have any interest in this, actually? Hey, Kazuma, do you make anything out of this? It's supposed to be the will that was sent to you. There's only one place where defense lawyers and prosecutors should discuss evidence, and that's the courtroom. So it seems you're still confused by the situation. That's what I make of it. Oh. Okay. Well... How do you feel about this commemorative photograph? Does this bring up any cute memories? No? Okay. Well. Okay. Great. No, that's fine. Well, I did say I would examine the desk, so I guess now's a great time to do that. There's Lord Von Zeeks' incredibly stylish desk. It's not my style, though. No, I notice you've been working on that little table on the floor, kneeling down Seatsa style. I thought it was some kind of punishment set up by Lord Von Zeeks when I first saw it. I find it the most comfortable way to work. On your knees? Yeah. I can't do it. After a couple of minutes sitting with my legs folded under me, they go all tingly. That's why I'm so glad that I meet certain boys who love that position. Don't exaggerate, Ryunosuke. We both know you can't even manage a minute. Oh, he knows! Because I get on my knees and suck his fat. What? Okay, well, great. So what am I supposed to do? Can I go talk to Maria Gore now? Is that allowed? Oh, also, as long as I'm here, actually, should I look at this diorama? This looks kind of cute. Whoa, 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 what is all of this nonsense? It's a scale model of the crime scene. Oh, yes. Well, I realized that much. Does the prosecution office make a model of the scene for every single case? Apparently so. Sometimes it helps to visualize things better and notice things that you hadn't spotted before. Actually, the miniature notice board is my work. Be honest, you enjoyed making that little thing. It's very cute. I do love it. Okay, well... Okay, well... Are you sure that we've asked everything we need to, Mr. Naruhodo? No, I am not sure, but how do I get him to ask more things? What am I supposed to present to him? The Red-Headed League, the photograph of Mr. Vigil, the letter of introduction, the dismissal notice. What would Kazuma be interested in? This photograph, maybe? No, for sure not. Sorry. The notice board? No. Yeah, thank God I'm not penalized for this. Do you want this doll back for your little, figurine that you were making? No? Okay, just checking. Do you have anything to say about Mr. Vigil? Maybe I'm supposed to look at something in this room. Maybe I'm supposed to look at something. Is there anything suspicious? I'm pretty sure you're done here. I mean, that's what I want to say, but then Susato-san's weird clue is like, are you sure you want to leave? Well, what does she say about everything else? I feel a strange connection with this place, knowing it's where Father studied all those years ago. Okay, that's great. This place is thick with dust. Seems to rather suit him. The decorations in here and the governor's face, they're terrifying. What a grand place. Just feel so nervous here. This is the only place that Susato-san's hint is like, hey, I don't think you're done here. So I feel like I am supposed to do something here. What else can I present to him? I really thought he might have a response to the Asogi papers, but I guess he really doesn't. We already talked about the watch. The watch. Maybe this will trigger something. Do you know who the man in the portrait is? Why would I? Well, you're Lord Von Zeke's apprentice. Yes, apprentice, not friend. And during the time I was suffering from amnesia, I didn't even notice that picture. Oh, really? I mean, it's not exactly the smallest picture. I wouldn't have the first idea what the man decorates his office with. Alright, well, a little bit of a Judy attitudey moment if you're asking me, but that's fine, baby. Don't worry, I won't hold it against you because I am a loving boyfriend. Can't really examine his desk. I really don't think the wine's gonna do. Oh, the autopsy report? Maybe, oh, maybe he'll want to talk about the autopsy report, actually. Alright, hang on. He is the prosecution, so I would like to complain about the unfinished autopsy report with him, actually. Where was that again? Yeah, this thing. So, this autopsy report, it came up in the trial, didn't it? As something a little dubious, I mean. The fact that no time of death was recorded on Inspector Gregson's autopsy report. Yes, there were some unexpected turns in the courtroom earlier. The suggestion you came up with certainly took everyone by surprise. The idea that the victim died the previous day at some other location is quite something. Well, considering when the pocket watch had stopped and the scorch marks on the candle, it's certainly a distinct possibility. The evidence and the scene both points to it. Oh, we're dropping frames again. Oh no. Chat, let me know if you can still see me and hear me. To be honest, it bothered me too. So I paid a visit to the autopsy room earlier. The coroner responsible wasn't there, but I got a name. It's Dr. Gory.
If it wouldn't trouble you, Kazuma-sama, we'd very much like to speak with the coroner, too.
You can still see me? You can still hear me? Okay. Of course. The last thing I want is for anything to be brushed under the carpet. Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory is behind Lowgate Cemetery. Wait. By Barclay Prison, you mean? Ah, you know it, do you? The prison where my father was incarcerated and robbed of his life.
Kazuma-sama!
Well, thank you. We'll pay a visit to the laboratory later today. And by later today, I mean right now. And by right now, I mean probably in the next episode, because we are also at our hour. Ryunosuke, yeah? I want to thank you. Oh, you're welcome. For what, babe? Sword dueling? For this. Yeah. Length and girth. I promise to give it both to you. You safeguarded the soul of the Asogi clan. Like my life depended on it. I sat on it every evening. It's a famous sword that's been in your family for generations. My only slight regret is that I never got the chance to draw it before I returned it to you. My only regret is that I didn't play with his sword. Kuruma is said to have been forged by a master swordsmith during the Sengoku Warring States period. I come from a long lineage of warriors, many of whom were expert swordsmen. Well then, here, chip off the old block, I'd say. This blade, Kuruma, is the symbol of the Asogi clan's honor and might. Apparently, one of my father's apprentices even took the blade's name for his surname. Oh, really? Kuruma? It does sound formidable, that's for sure. 16 years ago, when my father was a visiting student here in London, he had this sword forever at his side. Which is why it means so much to me that I have it by my side again now too. And that is all thanks to you. Stop it! It was really my honor. My sweet boy. He's the cutest, isn't he? And he's all mine. Now, I have preparations to make for tomorrow. Perhaps I said a little too much. Kazuma, you've changed. No, Ryunosuke. I haven't changed at all. Wait, what was that? Sorry, that was... It's you who's changed. I could have predicted that was the line. I can completely understand your resentment of Lord Von Zieks given what had happened, but the fact is, those events in this case are, well, unrelated? Is that what you want to say? How can you be so sure? What do you mean? Never mind. That man is the Reaper, and it's for that reason that the inspector was killed. I'm going to prove as much in court tomorrow. By whatever means necessary. Oh no, not the ends justifies the means! We've been through this before! I can't let you do that, Kazuma. I know you'll do what you have to as a lawyer, but I'm sure I don't need to tell you that I won't be taking any prisoners in the courtroom. I'd expect nothing less from you, boyfriend. Until tomorrow, then, in the Old Bailey. Yeah, I'll be there. Our date. Okay, it sounds like we are done here, and it sounds like we're going to go talk to Maria Gore. Did I unlock her location? New location has been added. The Forensics Laboratory. For sure. That's where we're going to go. And we're going to do it, boys! In the next... Oopsies. In the next one. Overwrite the save file for sure. All right. That's a wrap for this evening, boys. Tomorrow's Thursday, right? So I'll be here tomorrow. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern time, let's talk to Mariah Gore. Gory, ooey gooey, goody pussy. We're gonna talk to her. We're gonna learn what she's up to and why she's probably our new bad guy. If you guys could please leave a like on the stream, the engagement is super helpful. Thank you for spending your evening with me. And until then, boys, toodles!